This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin on April 26, 1990, on a small farm outside Osage City, Kansas. As usual, Cindy Moulin was at home looking after her own children and her sister Kathy's.
It was about 4:40 in the afternoon, and my daughters were in the house with me and Kathy's boys. I babysit for them, and I was expecting Kathy any time. My older son, Jacob, was outside doing chores.
Traveling the same route as Kathy that day was her cousin Linda.
I had just gotten groceries and was headed out of town to tutor a high school girl that I meet with after school about 5 o'clock every day. And I had just left the city limits. I noticed that there was a vehicle in front of me, quite a ways in front of me, nothing out of the ordinary.
When Kathy pulled up in front of her sister's house, she was forced to wait for an opening in the oncoming traffic to turn left into the driveway.
There was a blind spot in the road there where you cannot see the car in front of you. On the shoulder of the road, I noticed a couple of geese. My main concern was that they're going to cross in front of me and cause me to wreck.
At first, I thought the livestock had knocked over one of their feeders. They were metal feeders.
I looked up in the sky and I saw smoke just rolling through the air all over. And I go, that's a car fire, and I started screaming, Mom.
The other person in the car was my main concern, and to get back there to make sure they were okay. The front doors were jammed on my car, so I crawled out the back door. When I got to the car, I then noticed that it was Kathy, and this was my relation in there.
Let me out of here! Help!
And she's screaming that the doors are jammed and that she couldn't get out.
When we continue.
In my heart, I believed she was going to die. And I said, God, take her before she burns.
29-year-old Kathy Watson was trapped inside the burning wreckage of her car on the highway in front of her sister Cindy's house.
When I heard my son yelling, there's a car on fire out in front of the house. And then when I got up to look, it was almost like I didn't want to look, but I had to. And saw my sister's car was in flames.
Oh, my God.
When I saw Linda there and it looked like she couldn't get to her, that things were pretty hopeless. In my heart, I believed she was going to die and I was going to be there to watch it. And I said, God, take her before she burns.
Cindy's call for help came into the Osage City Police and Fire Department.
Osage City Fire and Police.
Get the fire department. That was my only hope. They'll come and they'll put this fire out and it'll be all right.
The volunteer fire department immediately responded. An advanced life support unit was also dispatched, but it would take several minutes for any rescue workers to get to the scene. Charlie Heberling was on his way to visit friends.
Well, I was just coming up the road, and I just happened to be the first one that got up on it. I thought the thing was going to blow up any time. I expected to get blowed right off there.
National Guard Sergeant Roger Mersman was heading home with his family.
I knew that car was going to explode, and my first thought was of my wife and my children. And I didn't like the idea of being a dead hero. As I was approaching the car, the heat was just incredible. I assumed that just instinct took over, just raw animal instinct. As long as she was still alive, I had to do something. I couldn't just stand by and watch it happen. We got maybe 15, 20 feet away from the car, and the flames were coming out of the hole that she had just crawled through. And the rest of the car burned within just a matter of seconds after that.
I just couldn't believe that she'd gotten out of it. Got over to her, and I grabbed onto her, and I started to cry, and I was holding her. I just kept saying, I thought you were going to die. I thought you were going to die. I think about what I would have had to do if Kathy had not gotten out. And I think about how I would have had to come back to this house and tell those little boys that their mother had died. It was very hard.
Anytime you got somebody that's trapped in a fire, there's a lot of concerns. Your biggest concern is inhalation of the superheated smoke and fumes, because they actually drown in their own mucus inside their lungs if they're burnt too bad.
Although emergency workers arrived within 5 minutes, it would have been too late to save Kathy.
Fuel from the gas tank was leaking out of the gas tank, and it was fueling the fire. And that's why if Roger and Charlie weren't on the scene practically immediately, that she would have perished.
One person didn't do it, two people didn't do it. It was 4 people working together. When you read about something like this in the paper, see it on the news, you ask yourself, would I do that? And I learned that I would.
29-year-old Kathy Watson suffered from burns and smoke inhalation and bruised her hand pounding on the windshield. But she escaped with her life. Kathy is grateful to all the people who stopped that day to help rescue her.
Some really wonderful people. They're 1 in a million. And they deserve so much for risking their lives.
It changed Kathy, and it did change me. We're just a lot more aware of how precious life is, how quickly it can be gone. So you look around and you see things that you once took for granted are much more important.
Next.
Okay. Kids are a little special. You're not just treating a patient, you're treating a future.
We need a chest x-ray now, please.
Accident-related injuries are the #1 killer of children. Yet there are few trauma centers in the country specially designed for their emergency needs. This story is not a recreation. It's the reality of life and death at Children's National Medical Center in Washington, D.C., a trauma center built just for kids.
No more shots, okay?
I don't want to do it again.
No more shots. Kids are a little special.
No more boo-boos, okay? Is it gonna hurt?
No, you won't feel a thing.
You're not just treating a patient, you're treating a future.
Okay. Okay, little baby.
Children's Lifeline, this is Kathy.
A call comes in from a small hospital 100 miles away. They're fighting to save the life of a 2-year-old boy, A.J. Winters, who was struck by a motorcycle.
This is Marty Eichelberger. How you doing?
Dr. Marty Eichelberger, director of the trauma center, takes over.
He's got apparently an open fracture, open femur fracture on the right, and he's in a little papoose board, and he's open in his left eye. His pupil's fixed and dilated, but he's open in his eyes.
A.J. has suffered massive head and facial injuries, and his airway is blocked.
And they're going to trach him? Oh, yeah. The tube that was placed in the baby's airway was done under emergency conditions. And if the baby it doesn't breathe and we don't provide oxygen to the baby, then the baby's going to die. It's as simple as that. You know, that thing is going to have to be secured because they pop out real easy, and especially in a 2-year-old. So probably one of you just got to watch that trach all the way.
Within 20 minutes, the helicopter carrying A.J. arrives.
Okay, here we go. Lift. He's in here. Good. Can we give him some... Has he got any volume?
Dr. George Panayotides heads the trauma team on duty.
AJ was paralyzed chemically by medicine when he came in because he was having a lot of pain. He was having difficulty tolerating the tracheostomy tube they put in him, and he was moving around a lot. Somebody check breath sounds, please. And we have correlation to the pulse ox.
We need a chest x-ray now, please. Chest x-ray.
Well, he's got a large laceration on his forehead with a small depressed skull fracture.
Neurosurgeon William Smith examines A.J.
Here we go. It's there.
You need a gas range check.
You got it?
No, that's a globe.
The globe is disrupted.
Yeah, he has a ruptured globe on the right. His right eye was lacerated up front. The left eye was protruding and could not move.
Don't hyperventilate him quite as much, okay? Not quite as much. So it's worth getting his head scanned first.
Absolutely. All right. The only question is whether that airway can be maintained without somebody holding it like that.
I'm going to get another tube.
And I don't think we could do that.
If nothing, we'll go to the OR.
Marty, he's got this 3 endotracheal tube that's sewn in. It's in too far. It's very difficult to move because how tight they tied it in. It's right by his carina. We pull it back and the sats improve, but if it slips back down, it ends up in his left main stem, and we get desaturation. I need a suture. I need something
what kind of suture you want?
like a 2-0 silk or
He's removing. He's got it repositioned to. Needs to be pulled back in. Good.
So what we did was basically make sure that that airway was safe for the baby. And then we made a decision that it was safe to take the baby to the x-ray department where we could get some information about how badly the baby's head was hurt, how bad the lungs were injured, and then whether or not he had any injuries in his abdomen.
Yeah, he has multiple facial fractures and orbital rim fractures, probably with fractures of bone into the orbital canal in the globe itself. He also has, we see air inside the cranial cavity, which indicates that he has an open fracture communicating from the outside, so he has a high risk of infection.
Front door?
A.J.'s parents finally arrive after driving 2 hours to the hospital. His father had not seen him since the accident. For 10 hours, a team of surgeons work on A.J., repairing injuries to his face and eyes, as well as a fractured leg.
Okay, can we have another retractor, please? A broad one? Do you have anything broad, Louise? Hi, how are you doing today?
Okay.
Good.
The following day, Chief Surgical Resident Dr. Robert Attore brings AJ's parents up to date on his progress.
We're very encouraged in how well he's waking up. His neurologic function is very, very encouraging, and we're hoping that his recovery continues to be as good as it has been so far. The other good news is that when the nurses took the bandages off of his eyes today, he was able to move the left eye over towards the nurse who was speaking to him, and that also is encouraging. We're not very optimistic about the right eye, as you know, as the ophthalmologist explained to you, but it is encouraging that he was able to move his eye in the direction of the nurse who was speaking to him. So he's made lots of good progress. Okay. You know who I have here? You talk to your mom and dad? Huh?
Sure.
Yeah?
AJ. Hi, AJ. Right.
Why don't you go talk
It's
to
all
the
right.
other side, okay?
It's okay. Dad here. It's okay.
AJ, Mama's right here. We here.
Okay.
We here. Put your leg back down, baby. Mama and Daddy right here. We right
It's
here
all right.
beside you. It's okay. It's okay, baby.
Dad, I brought something for you. The way he looked before he went into the operating room, he really looked bad. And after they brought him up and they let us see him, they did a good job. And I was really happy about what they done.
You're a good boy.
Dad, I love you, okay?
We love you, okay? Shake your head. Shake your head.
Okay?
Shake your head, yeah.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy.
AJ, you try and get a nap now, all right? You need a lot of rest.
AJ, we be right back, okay? Okay?
We'll be right back, okay? Come on. Lay your hand down.
Okay, we right here. We gonna stay right here. You want us to stay here with you? You want us to shake your head? Yeah. You want us to stay here? Okay, we right here. We be right here beside you.
The will of a child to get better, to do the things that are needed in order to fully recover is dependent upon the emotional support he receives. So the fact that his mother and father have been here with him from the very beginning, or at his bedside when he needs them, will have a significant impact on his ultimate prognosis.
Today, Anthony's doing fairly well. When we speak with him, he's able to follow complex commands, which is a good sign. That tells us that his motor centers are working, and also tells us that his higher cortical functions are relatively intact. AJ, can you stick your tongue out for me? AJ, let me see your tongue, buddy. Stick it out. Way out. Very good, AJ. Excellent. The other injury that we're involved with as far as the neurosurgeons is that he had significant cerebral spinal fluid leaking from his nose. Given time, we would expect that leak to resolve on its own. AJ, wiggle your toes for me. It may take 8 months, 9 months, a year before we finally know what his final prognosis will be. There you go. Excellent.
We're doing the best we can do medically for these children. And we still have kids die every day. We might feel real good about AJ, but I think all of us are realistic in the sense that this afternoon, same situation, child may not do it well.
Huh?
2 months later, AJ has improved dramatically. He's regained most of the sight in his left eye, and with therapy, he's showing steady progress in recovering from his broken leg.
Come on, let's go in the playroom. Go ahead.
This is definitely a miracle baby because the way he popped back, and I thank the doctors at Children's Hospital because I know if it wasn't for them, he would not be here.
We were able here, by the nature of our program, by the facilities that we have available at the hospital, to provide for AJ on the spot in the middle of the night 6 different teams of surgeons: general surgeons, neurosurgeons, ear, nose, and throat surgeons, plastic surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, and eye surgeons.
Got a pulse ox of 99.
Okay, buddy, open your eyes for me. Open your, okay, hold on. Can I get a 4x4, please? It's very crucial to have trauma centers as you see obviously in the case of AJ, that it does require a lot of money. Hospitals aren't able to maintain that cost many times. That's the reason they're closing down.
You bumped into Mickey. Basically, I just want him to live a normal life, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that he regains vision in his other eye, and I just hope he just be able to live a normal life. That's basically it. Wave, AJ. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say see you later. See you later.
In order to perform life-saving techniques effectively, you need proper training. There are courses available through the American Red Cross and the American Heart Association. This series is dedicated to the real heroes who risked their lives to save the life of a stranger. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
Step out of the car, please.